Hello dear Patreons, it is the 1st of March, so it's time for my regular monthly update. For those of you that joined the Patreon community in February, welcome to the inner circle and being part of the Painless 360 family. The support that all of you provide is so important to keeping things going, particularly with the changes in YouTube. The amount of money that you get from ads, despite the fact that it's nearly 110,000 subscribers on YouTube, the amount of cash that you get from YouTube has actually gone down over the last 2 or 3 years. So I don't know what YouTube are doing, probably giving it all to people like PewDiePie, but it means that for channels like me, well, I'm doing it because I love this stuff. It kind of really becomes a problem to kind of cover the costs. I know lots of other YouTubers with much smaller channels are struggling even more, but it means that all of the questions that I get and the things that I do become really difficult if I can't kind of cover the costs for the time that I'm spending and all the bits that I have to get in. So the stuff that you do and the support that you provide is absolutely invaluable, and I say a massive thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me keep this show on the road. If I look forward to what's coming in March, weather in the UK, as you can hopefully tell from here, is actually getting better. This is what sunshine looks like on my face. We haven't had that for quite a few months in these monthly videos. So let me go through what's coming up, and then we'll kind of finish up at the end, and I'll kind of ask if there's anything you want to see. So if I just have a very quick look on the screen, there's already loads of videos waiting to go. For those of you that haven't heard this speech already, this is going to be interesting, hopefully. For those of you that have, apologies in advance. I make videos as I get the time and kind of load them into YouTube, and they usually sat there in the playlist waiting to be published. So there's usually quite a few waiting to go, and that also, if life gets in the way of me sitting and playing with radio control technology and answering people's questions or setting models up, then it doesn't mean that the constant publication of videos can slows down. And that's important, because if you don't do that, YouTube starts to change the way that you're promoted on YouTube. YouTube these days is really all about putting out a video a day, you know, top 10 this, top 10 that, daft lists. That's really what YouTube is encouraging. I'm getting to the point where it would be nice to have another platform to use for this kind of stuff that could be monetized in some way, rather than just, you know, having to compete with, you know, top 10 gratuitous boob shots on a Brazil beach. So enough of me banging on, let's have a look at what's coming. So next month, doing more of the OpenTX quick tips. Lots and lots of questions about using pots for trims or using trims as switches, how you set up lots of really funky stuff. So if any of you Patreons have a question about OpenTX that you can't figure out, normally with people on YouTube, if they ask me a question and I've already answered it, I'll refer them to the playlist, or if it's close enough, they'll be able to watch the video and kind of, oh, okay, they get 90% of what they need. If you guys are struggling, then let me know, and I'll be quite happy to make a specific video for you guys. I've got over 70 or 80 videos, I think, now for OpenTX. So I just tend to make them these days for questions that I get where I haven't done it. Occasionally that does happen, and it's been happening the last 3 or 4 weeks. So that's there. Also a new video on trainer setup. OpenTX trainer setup is something I'm trying to get into. My friend is starting to get into FPV flying a little bit more. He's really struggled getting into FPV flying with quadcopters, but with a wing, actually it's a ZOHD Dart. I love those little things. I want to get him into that. But he's not confident enough yet. He needs to get used to just flying around and seeing the scenery and using the cues from the camera and the image to kind of figure out where he is in the field, his attitude and which way he's pointing. So I'm going to support him with that, and I want to be able to set it up. And I had a great question from somebody about how to use the trainer pieces, and I realized that the last video I did on trainers was 4 years ago, and this is the problem with having over 1,000 videos. I think about 1,050 now. You just have this stuff that just sits there. So I did that thing where I actually watched one of my old videos back to refresh my memory, and I thought, actually no, there's some new stuff in OpenTX 2.2 I haven't talked about, so I did that. So anyway, loads of OpenTX stuff. Some stuff on planes, getting some really nice planes in again. If you live in the north of England, or if you're ever passing junction 19 on the M6 and you're in the market for a plane, please let me know. I've just given a number of planes away to be raffled for a cancer charity, just to make some space really for this new stuff that's coming in. Quadcopters and stuff is really easy to hand over to you guys. Things like planes, particularly ones that are glued together, once you've glued them together you can't get them back in the bloody box, and the box is so big that it would cost an inordinate amount of money to ship them out. So if you are ever in the northwest of the UK, so junction 19 is junction 19 of the M6 is only about 5-6 minutes away from where I live. If you're going to be passing there and you're a Patreon, there's a pub on that junction. I'm quite happy to come up and donate a plane or a wing or something. You'd be helping me out. Some more videos on the Antenna Lab series. That continues to go. Greg at Menace RC has been a bit of a star. The next one that will be up actually this weekend is about what happens when you cover the antenna of a radio with heat shrink. So that's something we do in lots of our little models. We tend to use a cable tie and a bit of heat shrink just to protect it. It does have an effect. It's not massive. There's probably more of an effect by incorrectly routing or badly positioning your antennas, but that's going to be coming on as well. Also some more on the Big Boys toys. The big transformer wing, you remember that thing? Put a Pixhawk in it, didn't get as far as I wanted to, went up to 3DXR in the northeast of England. Ben there has installed hundreds and hundreds of Pixhawks, and I wanted to kind of capture his tips and tricks as a pro builder, because he is a pro builder because he actually charges people for it, to kind of do that, and he very kindly agreed to help with that video. So that'll be up, and then there's another couple of videos coming, and then we'll do one about how you calibrate airspeed sensors and things. Interestingly, there is a little bit more interest in the Pixhawk flight control system from what I would consider die-hard FPV businesses that would normally go for something like iNav or maybe a Vector. And they have tried a Pixhawk and think it's absolutely fantastic. It's like a proper flight system. Now, the problem with Pixhawk is the on-screen displays are terrible. If you put ArduPilot onto an F3 or F4 board that has an inbuilt OSD, you know, the things that Betaflight and iNav run on, you get an on-screen display. But using it with the Pixhawk's a little bit different. I'm getting a VTX in, something that isn't released yet that might fix that problem, so I've got my fingers crossed. So there's lots of things to try that's kind of on the leading edge of what we're doing here in the hobby, which is kind of fun for me because I love it when I get a question or get a product that's new that nobody else has made a video on, because I have to kind of figure stuff out, and I've got a really weird addiction to doing that. In that vein, there'll be some more videos on the rapid fire module. I've got my second rapid fire module in here. The first one I only had for a short period of time. It was a loaner. The next one that I've got in is actually mine. Hooray! So I can do more videos on it. So stay tuned for that, because there's a load of questions. There's a video about, again this weekend, about what this little thing on the right hand corner is. It's actually a happiness meter, believe it or not. But there's loads of questions. People are not sure about how you calibrate these things, because you're supposed to calibrate it without the antennas and then with the antennas. So what does that mean if you have a directional antenna? Are you supposed to have everything pointing towards the source that you're calibrating for? You're supposed to, it's not clear. The manual is one of those things that has 2 paragraphs, and if you calibrate it wrong, then you're not getting the best out of the module. So there's those kind of things as well that I'm looking to get into. Starting a new series. I have everything else on a little bit of paper in front of me. Well, actually that's not true. I'll show you. I've got my magic book with all my things listed in, and a little bit of paper for things that are on the list that will be coming. So the first one is a build, another iNav build with iNav 2.1. iNav 2.1 is out. Hooray! The Radix flight controller has that beautiful graphical on-screen display, and there is a port of iNav for the Radix, and they now have a wing power distribution board which allows you to put it into a wing and do a great job. Now I'm actually going to put that into a Bixler. I haven't really done an iNav build in a more traditional plane. They've always been wings or things with elevons, so have a look for that. That should be a really fun build to do. I've had loads of people asking me, can you just put iNav in a general regular plane? plane. But if I do it with the Radix, that also allows me to kind of show some of the cool stuff that thing does as well. Getting more quads in. Got a couple of small quads, things like the Modula 7 or Mobula 7 HD or whatever it is on its way. Other people have already looked at these, but it's always fun. I'm continuing to look at the less than 250 gram stuff. These little quads are great because they make great prize draws, and we'll talk about the YouTube channel at the end, for people like this community, because they're great things to have a quick fly, do the video, put them back in the box, and then they can go on to their new owner. Less than 250 gram builds has been really interesting. Getting a really nice quadcopter under less than 250 grams is actually not too tricky. The Armatan Chameleon is probably my favourite. With the choice of battery, you can get it under 250 grams. It flies like a 5-inch quad. You get reasonable flying time. It also, with a HD split camera in the front, you can even record in HD without having all that extra weight of an action camera. It's the fixed wing stuff that's causing me a problem. Now, I've spoken to an awful lot of the manufacturers and resellers of smaller fixed wings, because I assumed that because this 250 gram limit is nothing new, it's been coming for a very long time, that all of these manufacturers had been desperately coming up with a model that would allow you to put a battery, a flight controller, simple FPV electronics in it, and have an all-up flying weight of less than 250 grams. So in those places in the world where that apparently arbitrary limit is in place, they still had something to sell those customers. They don't. As an ex-marketing director, it drives me bonkers that they miss opportunities like this. It's like last year with the RAF 100-year centenary. There wasn't all special edition of World War II warbirds that gave a donation to the charities for veterans. But anyway, I'm not going to get on my soapbox about that. But the bottom line is, nobody, that's not true, actually, I'm under NDA with somebody who is, but almost nobody is looking to try and build a 250 gram model. And actually getting under 250 grams is really easy. If you use the balsa style construction methods that we were using before everyone went to EPP and EPO foam, you can get them to 250 grams without too much problem at all. They're obviously a little bit more fragile, but it's a great option for those people who want to have something that's legal to fly in their country. So I will continue to look at that. Stay tuned. If you have an option for a less than 250 gram model that isn't the Strix Nano Goblin, because that's just too bloody expensive, and that is something that's currently available. So lots of YouTubers have made less than 250 gram models, but lots of them are using models that are no longer widely available. Then do let me know, because I'd love to do that. There's the little 20 by 20 millimeter mounted flight controllers, perfect for that stuff. More Antenna Lab stuff. We continue to kind of go down the rabbit hole. If you have any things that you're not sure about with FPV or radio antennas that don't make sense, let me know, and I'll try and add that into the schedule with Greg, who's been a bit of a star. There's going to be more videos in the field. You guys, I shared, I think it was last month, a video of me and one of my friends, Ross, maidening a couple of planes in the field. Some of that footage was used in the review, but I normally kind of make a sizzle reel, I guess you'd call it, kind of, for me and Ross. It's kind of a memory jogger, and we can look back on what we were doing, because, you know, the more you fly, the better you get, and it's fun to look back on what you were able to do a year ago versus now, and vice versa. But I want to do more of that in public videos. So I've got a stabilizer for the camera. This thing I'm recording on here is a Canon SX740HS. It's one that is my Christmas present to myself. It's in a little rig here with a light, so when the light is terrible I can actually illuminate my face. But this on a little gimbal would be brilliant, along with the hat cam, to kind of get multiple angles with maybe a camera, you know, kind of velcroed on top of the model. I think that would be very interesting, and I've had great response from those videos in the field where I'm just out, just having a fly with a mate and having fun. And for those of you that maybe live in isolated places that don't get a chance to fly with mates, it kind of gives you that same kind of feeling of community that you can get when you go to the field with a couple of pals, and you know, you have some models under your arm and a bucket full of batteries. Last thing I will comment on. For those of you that haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There is a separate, smaller YouTube channel that I'm not publicly promoting yet, and I'd love you patrons to be on there. That's the channel actually that I'm doing all the prizes and giveaways on, and there is 2 currently on there that I will be drawing in the next 2 or 3 days. So make sure that you are subscribed and you're leaving a comment on anything you're interested in. Similarly, that's the channel I'll also be posting some of these test videos that you guys can have a look at. So for the moment, treat it like a Patreon only channel, and that way, you know, I'm not in kind of contravening any Patreon rules about giveaways and those kind of things too. So in summary, I've been banging on for ages this time. I've had a lovely chat, so hopefully you've had a cup of tea and chocolate digestive while you've been watching this. Should have probably said that at the beginning. If you have anything that you really want to talk about on the channel, then please let me know. Again, I am available to all of you. If you are getting stuck, then please just drop me a line. And then occasionally, you know, if we can't get it sorted over a couple of conversations over the message system here on Patreon, then, you know, I'm quite happy to set up a Skype chat and have a natter and see if we can get it all figured out, or send me the configuration file and I'll have a look and see if I can spot what's going wrong. Don't forget there are other benefits as well. So if you want, you know, the graphic for your radio, or the graphic for the startup screen for Betaflight or iNav, or even now the graphic for your goggles with things like RapidFlyer making, and you're not sure about how to do that, then just get in touch with me and I'm quite happy to do that. All that stuff is available as benefits for you guys as Patreons, just to say in a small way, thank you for all the help and support you provide. You are a big reason why this channel continues and why I continue to have such fun making these videos. The last thing I'll say is, if any of you are going to the mini air show down in Popham Airfield, down near Winchester here in the UK, do let me know. It would be great to meet up and hang out. I'm planning to be there all day on the Saturday and probably first bit of Sunday. So if any of you are going to that event in the UK in a couple of months, let me know, and we can have a Painless 360 Patreon and subscriber hangout. Have a wonderful March. Enjoy the hopefully better weather here in the Northern Hemisphere. Good luck for those of you in the Southern Hemisphere. I guess you're on the other way. You know, we're coming up, you're coming down in terms of the decent weather. But wherever you are, have a wonderful time flying and a fantastic month. And if you have any questions, pop them down below or pop me a private message and I'll do what I can to help. Thanks for watching the video and watching right to the very end. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you like the video and like what I'm doing here, then hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon too. If you really like what I'm doing, you can go the extra mile and become one of my Patreons for access to me directly for support, and also giveaways and regular updates too. If you're looking for particular content, then check out the playlist. I organise all of my videos into playlists, so if you're looking for a particular topic, you can find everything here. If it's called Introduction To, it's designed to start very simply and build on that simple introduction to teach you all about it. If it's called For Beginners, then that is really aimed at people who are brand new to that part of the hobby. You can also search on YouTube for anything that you're interested in using the search function at the top. So iNav Painless 360 will find all of my videos and even the playlist around iNav. So thanks again for watching and happy flying.